Thank you so much, Diana. The catchword was you have to come out. You have to come out. And I just thought that is powerful because really God won't find you sleeping. God won't find you hiding in your shell. You just have to come out. How many people believe in that we have a creator? Who believes in the creator? Wow. So you must believe in the power of destiny too, right? Wow. I am growing up. I look at my story. I'm this I used to be a very timid girl. Actually, my story rotates around somebody who doesn't have confidence to speak the right things. You know, usually confidence is usually when you're able to speak what you want, when you want, and to the people that you want it, to go to. Most times you can be the kind of person who speaks a lot because me, I'm an extrovert. I've never been an introvert. But many times I always found myself not being able to express myself, not being able to speak what I wanted to speak. And I just realized it came from my childhood, from the time I was a child. Because unfortunately, when my dad died, my mom had to work. She used to work. She worked in the bank for I think 40 years plus. So, if you know somebody who works in the bank, those are jobs where they will transfer you even after 1 month. So she was a work nomad. So she couldn't, since she wasn't stationed in one place, she decided, why don't you live with your grandmother? And those extended family structures where there are all sorts of cousins, aunties, that kind of arrangement, you figure it out. So I realized growing up in that environment affected me so much that I couldn't express myself. I think it had to do with the fact that we lived with older cousins who were telling you what to do, shutting you up, and so expressing myself became something like, I'd rather keep my peace, instead of saying something and somebody's going to shut me up. So that was my childhood. So when I grew up, I realized that I had issues expressing myself because I'm such a relationship person, not just the relationship between a man and a woman, but just friends, colleagues. I am that kind of person who will check on my friends, who is out there, like talking to people. But I realized in these relationships, I couldn't express myself. I couldn't say what I wanted to say. So to say, I was just like a people pleaser. Yes, man, those people. Can we do this? Yes, we can. When deep down you really don't want to do it. Do you think we could go to the beach? Yes, we should. But you really don't want to go to the beach. So you don't want to displease someone because you don't know how to express yourself. You're not confident to say what you want. I'm sure those people are here. They are everywhere. Yes. So it became so hard for me, even like when I remember when I got married. Because I got married when I was really, really young, 2 years out of campus. And people were like, wow, Bella, you're so young. Do you think you can do marriage? And I really knew I could do marriage, only for the fact that I couldn't say what I wanted. So you're with someone, and they're like, do you think we should do this? This guy is going to be angry if I tell him we shouldn't. We should do it. So you go with the flow. We should do it. But in the end, you realize it makes you so unhappy. It makes you so resentful. I know there are many people who have gone through this, So in the end, somebody thinks you're happy with them, but you're not. And then it starts to show in your behavior. And then in turn, they're thinking you're very ungrateful because they don't know that you're unhappy. Because you're not telling them so, right? Yeah, so I realized that it was something that was so big because in the end, what would happen is that I would just, when I'm so full of what is going on, I'll just burst out. That communication of now, like you're just angry, So it was the same for other relationships. I remember the relationships with my siblings. If like, I've been having you on my heart because I can't speak to you, because I can't express myself. So there are these things that I've been doing, they've not been making me happy. So I wait for some time, and out of the blue, I just burst out. Then my brothers would be like, Bella, why do you do these things? And I couldn't explain that, dude, I have been going through these things for some time. I couldn't. Same with my mom. And because when you are a people pleaser, when you are a yes man kind of a person, people forget that practically that could be a deficient. They think that's you. They think that's your character. So my mom would always be like, but Bella will do it. I'm sure she'll do it. That kind of a person. But for me, I'm like, this woman. So at one time when I was trying to get over that situation, I now was like, I need to start speaking because it had gone so far. I grew up in a church. I'm a church girl all my life. I pray over everything, But I realized there are things where you have to speak, I realized that if I don't speak, it's going to be bad. Because, even if you pray, God will tell you, I gave you a mouth, so speak. It's funny. I'm a public speaker now. It's always amazing to me when I think about it, because I'm like, me and I used to speak. I would only speak the things that don't make people unhappy. But me coming out to tell you that, you know what? I am not liking what you've been doing. That was so hard. It was so hard for me. So I remember one time when I was overcoming that, I told my mom, I just sent her a message, and I was like, Mommy, I don't like what you did last Sunday. I didn't like how you did it. She couldn't believe. She was so mad because she was used to, Bella, the sweet girl, Bella who doesn't do anything. She was so angry. But then in the end, you see, that's the thing. When you're trying to bring these changes, when you're trying to change, you will realize there will be a lot of opposition because people are used to the old you. People don't want you to change. People want you to facilitate their lives, continue being the yes person, because it's just our nature, human beings, we're just selfish. So when I started to adopt those changes, when I started to bring them up in my relationships, I remember the relationships with my siblings, when I started to speak out, it wasn't so easy, but they were finally able to realize, they were finally able to see what it is that they were doing that was not making me happy. But had I kept quiet, it would have led to a lot of resentfulness. I remember, particularly when it comes to work, it was even worse. Work, I struggled, because I couldn't speak. I struggled to fit in. There are these things about yourself that you're born to stand out. You know it, but somehow you can't speak. Opportunities come, they pass you by because somehow you can't speak. You can't ask for these opportunities. Just like Patricia was saying here, you're thinking these opportunities are for some few, for some other people. So maybe all you need to do is ask your boss that, I feel I fit in this job. I feel I can do this, but you can't. Because you're not confident, you can't speak. Those opportunities pass. It happened so many times. I remember at work, I struggled because I always felt like if I speak, it's going to come out wrongly. Equally, there are unfair things that happen at work and you can't speak about them. Can be anything. Recently, I remember someone made a requisition, I think, for fuel, and they decided they wanted to give themselves much more, yet we're almost on the same rank. So I was so like, why would somebody do this, And if it was the old Bella, I wouldn't have spoken about it and I would have gone on so resentful. But what I did, I spoke about it to the boss, to our boss. And I'm like, you know what? What criteria did she use to calculate this fuel? You understand? And these things happen all the time and you can't speak about them because you feel you're not confident enough. But why? Because in the end, those opportunities pass, So with people pleasing comes this thing of you want to be liked. Me, that was my biggest problem. I couldn't handle not being liked, If I say this, she's not going to like it. Like especially at work. She's not going to like it and I'm going to feel so out of place. And that is a mediocre kind of mentality, Because you always know if you're born to stand out, you feel that greatness within you. So you should speak, You should speak out, You should risk not being liked because not being liked isn't going to make your dreams come true, if you have a dream, if you have something that you're going after, you should be able to express it. You should be able to speak about it, regardless of who is going to look and who is going to hate, who is going to, not like. That is something that you have to get over. And I think I had to get over it. It wasn't easy. I still struggle. I can't say that my journey is, complete or I'm really up there. I do. But on those days that I struggle, I remind myself why in the first place I had to come out. I remind myself why in the first place I have to speak, because God has set all these things for you in place, but you have to speak. You have to do something. That's what everybody is talking about. You have to do something, because nobody's an angel. Nobody's going to know what you want. So when you confront your fear, when you confront whatever fear you have, you gain authority over it. It loses power over you, and you gain authority over it. I remember I couldn't even go in a meeting and speak. But lately, I can be at work. And my boss, we are so many, but it's so easy for her to be like, Bella, you know what, you go represent me for this meeting. And I will go and speak confidently. It had to come from the fact that I had to come out. I had to do something about it. Thank you so much.